And welcome back to the Red and Gold Zone. It is time for my personal favorite segment, the Keys to the Game segment. And we are joined by our insider, as usual, Grant Cohn. Grant, thanks for joining us, man. Let's start right with last week. The game was severely affected by COVID-19. Obviously, Kendrick Bourne, he tested positive. Then we read that he tested negative. Then it was a positive again. There was a lot of confusion. A lot of people didn't play, obviously, because of contract tracing. It was just a mess, and we don't have much clarity. We didn't have much clarity right after the game. As it stands now, do we have any clarity as to what happened, who may have been sick, who may not have been sick? I know the coaches can't really speak on it, but do you have any information on that?
Absolutely not. No, I asked Kyle Shanahan today. I said, can you please explain what's going on with Kendrick Bourne? Because I thought he'd had a false positive. Did he have a false negative? And Shanahan goes, I can't really talk about that. But then he starts to talk about it because he can't help himself. And he goes, basically, it went positive, negative, negative, positive, negative. So he's had 2 positive tests. I'm talking about Kendrick Bourne, and 3 negative tests. The most recent one is negative. I don't know what in the world is going on or where they got these tests. Did they get them from like the Compton swap meet or something? I don't know. But if he can have a few more negative tests, he might be able to play. It seems like all the people who are in contact with him will be able to play as well. But it's the most ridiculous situation I can remember.
Yeah, you're really starting to see it across the entire sports landscape. College football, college basketball. It's not getting any better anytime soon. But one thing that is getting better, Richard Sherman, he's starting to feel better, making some progress. Kyle Shanahan hasn't gone out and said that he's going to play this week. He's a little more pessimistic, but he doesn't exactly rule him out because he knows Richard Sherman is a tough guy. How important is it for the 49ers to get Sherman back on the field?
That's a good question. Well, you could look at it pessimistically and say they're probably not going to the playoffs, so what does that help? And then you could look at it schematically. I think his replacement, Jason Verrett, has been an upgrade. The Niners can do so much more schematically with Verrett because he can play man and zone as opposed to Sherman, who can just play zone. But this is very good news for Sherman. Sherman is going to be a free agent next year. He's been out since week 1. He's not going to get any type of good contract next year if he doesn't come back. He needs to come back and play 5 good games. So this is his audition for the rest of the league.
All righty, Drew Brees. He started off the season kind of slow. People were saying, he's old, he's washed. But the Saints have won 5 straight games. He's played pretty well in all 5 of those wins. Is this Saints team a legit Super Bowl contender?
I want to say yes. I pick them to win the Super Bowl every year, and then they let me down. So they look like it now, but they kind of always look like Super Bowl contenders in late November. The thing that I look at with them is Drew Brees in the playoffs. When the weather's cold and he has to go play outside, his arm really does look weak. But to me, the way that this year is going to go down is it's going to be the healthiest team in January. The team with the fewest amount of COVID cases and injuries is going to make it. And right now, they have a full deck of cards. They got everyone there that they need. So if the Super Bowl was next week, yeah, but who knows what any team's going to look like 3 weeks from now.
Yeah, Alvin Kamara is another guy who's looking really, really good this year. Now, when it comes to their matchup with the 49ers, last year, that was one of the games of the year in the NFL. It was a shootout. Jimmy G may have had his best performance as a pro. How do you see that game going this week? What does the matchup look like to you on paper?
Yeah, so they won't have Jimmy Garoppolo, who was great in that game last year, but he also had Emmanuel Sanders. He had Deebo Samuel. He had everyone. And this week, they're not going to have Emmanuel Sanders. He's on the Saints now. They're probably not going to have Deebo Samuel. They may have Brandon Ayuk and Richie James Jr., no George Kittle, no Raheem Mostert. It seems like a tall task. And I don't even think the Niners expect to win this game. If they thought they had a legit chance to win this game, you'd think that maybe some of the injured vets would rush back. But it seems like the Niners' attitude is like, take your time. Just wait one more week, because if you take 1 week off, you get 2 weeks off. Next week's a bye week. I think the Niners aren't giving up on the season, but they're looking to make their run after the bye week.
Yeah, you can kind of say playing smart, not hard, I guess you could say. Final question for you, Grant, and I'm probably going to ask you this each and every week until we stop doing this thing at the end of the season. With all we know and all things considered, how is Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch evaluating the quarterback position long term? Because you have Jimmy G, where he is probably the most talented guy on the roster. I think that's probably not an argument, but he's shown his flaws, and he's also shown that he can't stay healthy. You have Nick Mullins, who one week looks, hey, the ultimate game manager, you can win with him, and then another week is, and you know Kyle Shanahan he really wants to do a lot of different things. So what are they thinking long term, him and John Lynch?
I think they're looking at both Nick Mullins and Jimmy Garoppolo as sort of like temporary bridge quarterbacks. I mean, they thought that Jimmy Garoppolo could be a franchise quarterback, but he has his problems. And they knew that coming into this season. They said that they were evaluating him this season. He was still under an evaluation period, and he got hurt right away. They can't evaluate him because he doesn't play enough. He'll be 30 next season, Jason, and he's only started 32 games. That's 2 seasons. So really the evaluation is complete. It's a guy who's not young anymore, who can't stay healthy, and is right now a one-read quarterback. I think they got to move on. If he's a bridge quarterback, he's way too expensive. You can't pay $27 million a year for someone to keep the seat warm. Nick Mullins that's a bridge quarterback, a guy who you don't have any problem benching. You're not financially committed to him in any way. I would expect he'll be on the team next year, but they got to draft a quarterback. They could trade for Matt Ryan or a vet, but the salary cap's going down. If they could get a rookie who could step in and play right away, a lot of these rookies seem to be stepping in and playing right away. Tua Tagovailoa, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert. Seems like the college game really does prepare these kids for the NFL more than ever. Just trust yourself, your offense, that you can bring in a talented rookie with actual physical gifts. Give him a player like George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, and Raheem Mostert, and let him go. I think a guy like Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Trey Lance could be better right away than Jimmy Garoppolo. That's what I think they're going to do next year.
Hey, that's why we love Grant Unfiltered Honesty. Grant, thank you so much for joining us for our Keys to the Game segment. Take care, brother.
My pleasure.
And there you have it. That is our Keys to the Game.